Got it.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Munoz, and this is part of my 29 Days of Magic series, where every single day for the month of February, I interview another amazing Black woman from all different walks of life. And so today, I am so excited to have Sharon Williams, who's an artist, care coach, and author. It's going to be a great conversation. Take a listen. Hey, Sharon Lee, how are you?
Hi, Laura. I am good, great, awesome, feeling fabulous, and glad to be here. So, yes.
I'm delighted to have you on the show finally. So, first question, always the same. Answers are always hilarious, and I'm sure it's going to be no different. So, Sharon Lee, what was your first job?
My first 9 to 5 job. Now, y'all can look it up. I was a key punch operator. Aha. So,
Uh huh.
key punch operator, we'd use it, for those people who don't know, we used to punch, like the programmers would come to our desk and they had these cards that had these, coding holes in them. And we would punch all the, or key in all the information, and then the programmers would take it and put it in the large computers. Now we're going back to 1968, somewhere in there.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was my first job, and I loved it, actually. So,
And how does one even get that job?
well, my story. I'll give you a little background history. I had come out of the foster care system and had aged out around 16 years of age, and with a few other struggles and whatever, finally went to the Children's Aid and said, okay, I want to get a job, and I think I'd like to be a key punch operator. It was either a court stenographer or a key punch operator. And so they gave me, fronted me some money, which I paid back. And I applied. And this is in Montreal, by the way, Montreal, Canada. And I got the job. So, and I was in a room with probably 150 women or so, I would say. Was that
Oh,
kind of?
wow.
Yeah. They don't have those machines anymore. Those big, rooms where they have those huge, um, yeah, those huge machines that you had to feed. Now everything is so small and contained.
Digitized, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'd come out of school. That's basically it. I have no university background or college background. I'm high school, and it was just the struggle to to pull myself together to get a job. So I was very happy when I did get a job, to pay for apartment and food and life and all that.
Everything in between.
Hmm.
So, from being a key punch operator to where you are now, what's that
Hmm.
career journey been like?
Well, I went from being a key punch operator, then I was a manager in another a center, uh, and then they had these auditions for this Broadway show, which was coming up in Montreal, and it was hair. And my friend had said, oh, "Okay, she was auditioning for it," and she said, "Oh, you got to audition for this show. Come on." And I said, I don't sing well enough to do that." But long story short, I auditioned. I got that job as well,
Awesome.
and uh,
Even though you thought you couldn't do it.
well, I couldn't do it. I don't even know how old I was, 19, perhaps 18 or 19. All those doubts and insecurities, and again coming out of the foster care system, not having any belief in myself. So it was, and I was also engaged at the time. But so that's how I got into show business, I guess. For That's been my career. That's where I made my money, and where I've made my money, and had a wonderful life in that, a wonderful career in that. And
Ooh,
now,
tell us some stories.
well, there's no real stories to tell. that I would tell. But hair was an eye opener for me, because hair was about the Vietnam War, and young people resisting that, and some going, and some. But the biggest thing about that, there was a nude scene in Hair, and it wasn't mandatory, but it was suggested that you do this nude scene, and that was like, oh, okay. So when I finally, 2 weeks into the show, decided, okay, I'm going to do, if I believe in this show and I believe in what I'm doing, being very principled and ethical, I believe in this show. And I did the nude scene. And I have to say, it was a very freeing moment.
Oh,
Very, very
wow.
freeing moment. But when you get family, my foster family came down to see it, and my mother kind of knew, she knew there was a nude scene, but when you have family night, but she did not expect that I would do it, because it's family night. All these parents had come, and aunts and uncles and friends, da, da, da. And I could see I was doing the lead, and I remember her coming, and when the scene came up and I was dead center, her face dropped. Just dropped.
I can imagine.
Oh my goodness. But hey, but it was good. It did free me from, a kind of a body image, and yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're performing nude in the hair, and so like for how many plays, shows, like I want the details, Sharon. Like after that.
Well, after that, so I was taken. I had a short stint. I went to Broadway. The producers took me to Broadway, New York. And I decided at some point that I didn't want to stay in New York. So I went back to Toronto, much to the chagrin of many, many people. Said, "What do you mean you're not doing Broadway?" I just uh, took a pass on that. But um, yeah, the shows, I have to say, the nude scene was a small part of the show. The music was fantastic, and we were taken down by a crisis in Quebec at that time. Before I went to Broadway, and then I was in Toronto. Then I'm sorry, I might be skipping all over the place, because the memory,
No worries.
I'm in my seventh decade of life. That is my reasoning. um,
No problem whatsoever. Go for it.
so I went to Toronto and became what they call a jingle queen. Started off as a jingle princess, into a jingle queen, doing a lot of jingles and session work and voiceover, and um, you know, just background stuff. And lead stuff. Worked with a lot of wonderful, fabulous artists, and I guess that's it. Uh, you know, I won't tell you all the stories about who did what and
Fine.
what and who what.
Oh, no fun. Fine. Okay, fine.
Well,
uh,
remember,
but
this
yeah,
is the
so
'70s, so
I mean, this was the '70s, so y'all were having a good old time.
good old
Um,
times. Hmm.
you're like your lips are sealed. I get it. I get it. So, how did you get to become a care coach?
Well, that's what I'm naming myself now, because I haven't really, I like the idea of a care coach. I started in probably 2016, but really I was into self help, or self actualization, whatever you want to call it, way back in probably the early 90s. And so that's when I really started my journey with that, wanting to, be a better version of myself, wanting to understand more. And finally in 2019, I guess I'm a graduate of coaching and facilitation. But before that, I also had a business as a performance coach. So I did that, which was great. I loved that. And I worked with a lot of entertainers and speakers who were nervous about going on stage and how to hold a microphone and just how to be comfortable. Um, but it also, you have to work with the psyche. You're going into the psychology of all of that. So that was great, and I think that's part of why I did the coaching, the care coaching. The other dimension of coaching, just to get stronger. Yeah, to get stronger in that whole coaching creation, and also, which leads me into what I'm doing now. And I've been working on a program um, called OutRaised, and that's OUTRAISED. And it's for young women who have been raised outside their family of origin, and really directed towards young women of color at the moment, aging out of foster care, or who have aged out of foster care between the ages of 19 and 30. So you're caught up with that, except for the book.
Oh, awesome. Oh, you've got a book coming too.
Got a book.
So tell me, got about the book. Let's hear about the book.
The book is really a memoir, but it's also to support the foster care, because, again, it's about my life as being not so much about my life as a musician, but growing out of the foster care. I guess all the things that held me back, the success I had, and how I applied forgiveness to everything I did, and how I overcame certain things. And hopefully it'll be really helpful to not just young women in foster care, but also to the people who work with them, especially young women of color. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Oh, awesome. Incredible. And so what's maybe one or two things you hope that you want to convey to the young folks who are aging out of foster care right now?
Um, I want to convey, I want them, I'd like to see them dream again, to have joy again, and to know that your past does not, and we've all heard this, your past does not define your future. So there are possibilities out there that they should reach for, and yeah, I guess understanding that their past doesn't really define their future. It is past, and in terms of my past, it has made me more resilient. So your past can make you resilient, and you can grow and forgive, and you are not alone. All of those things.
Awesome. Looking back on all the incredible work that you've done over the years, what do you think you'd tell 25-year-old Sharon?
My 25-year-old. Ah, my 25-year-old. I think I would have, I think I would tell my 25-year-old to open those doors, to walk through the doors, to say yes, to trust more, trust myself more, and find a doggone mentor.
So find a mentor.
A mentor. That would have
Oh, I
been
get it.
That would
That
have
would have
been
been super helpful.
really helpful. It might have
No.
shortened the learning and the growth, but I'm okay with who I am as well now. But I would have liked that. A mentor would have been great.
And thinking about like looking back on that now and all the kind of ups, downs, and rounds you had to deal with, talk to me about a time where you're like, okay, I'm never gonna get through this, and then you did.
Hmm. Talk about the family situation. I,
Anything you want, any challenge along the way, career wise, family, anything you want.
well, when I was in the foster care system, I guess I had such a deep hole, such a deep vacancy in there that said, why wouldn't my mother want me? Here's a woman who carried me for 19 months. Oh God, hell no, 9 months. We're not elephants. 9 months and gave me up at birth. So I spent a lot of time kind of being angry with her and angry with myself for, as a young kid, you think, okay, you're not valuable, you're not worth it, I must have done something wrong. But how could a baby that popped out do something wrong? But I went on a quest to meet both my biological mother and father. And that happened when I was 31 years old. And I didn't have the expectation that she might want to talk to me, or especially the mother. I didn't know if she would want to have a conversation or meet up with me, uh, but it happened. I discovered she was living in Toronto, where I was at that time, and we met up. But the first thing I remember saying to her, I'm not a drug addict, I'm successful, I have a television show, um, I make my own money. Don't worry. I'm not coming at you for something. I remember saying that to her on the phone because she was concerned. I could hear that, why are you calling me? You're 31 years old. And how did you find me and all that stuff? But fortunately, we got together and she became part of my life for the rest of her life. When she passed, I guess, 6 years ago, as did my biological father. So it that gap, that hole for me was closed. That challenge for me, like what was the hole was closed, and they both became, I wouldn't say friends, but not parents, but just they were in my life until they both passed. They weren't together. And I feel very blessed to have had that happen, because so many kids don't have that, or have really negative results, where the parent says, don't call me, hang up the phone, you can't reach me, all that stuff. I feel very blessed that I was able to accomplish that. So
Wow, it's amazing, and thank you so much for sharing that. You know, obviously you work with a lot of folks, and you put out so much good in the world. So, what do you do for your self care?
I shop. I'm not gonna lie, I would like to tell you that I'm you know but my self-care,
I
I,
appreciate that. I appreciate that quite well. Same here. Same
yeah,
here.
I do like that. It tends to calm me down. Self-care, I I have a lot of quiet time. I read. Uh, and self care is my music. When I decide, when I'm writing a song, that's a lot of self care. But really, it's about just family or my partner, or um, yeah, I work out. That's my self care. I pray. Yeah, those are and I go out to dinner. I lead a simple life, I would say. That's my self-care. Lead a simple life. Don't get too complicated, and eat well.
I appreciate that one. I mean, I appreciate the shopping and the eating well, because those are in my buckets as well.
Mm,
Because
mm, mm, mm.
when in doubt, going out and treating yourself to something, whether it be an ice cream cone, like a really good cocktail, or just a little something for yourself, a little tchotchke, just helps you feel a little better, especially when you're having like a rough day. So I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Oh yeah, and any day, some days are just fabulous. You wake up and the world is just joyous. I do wake up pretty joyous, but sometimes, the days can go, things aren't going your way, and you have to kind of pivot and turn stuff around. But sometimes just a little, I don't know, a little shopping can help, or looking at things, pretty things, maybe not shopping. I just to
Oh no,
clear,
don't backtrack. Shopping. That's not backtrack.
yeah,
Shopping.
shopping, clearing the mind, and just prettiness. I like prettiness. So,
Sounds good to me. And so, last question for you. Do you have a give and or an ask of the audience?
well, I would love if you check out the program. If you think you have anybody interested in the programs, because there are programs on OutRaised, and my website is Sharon Lee Williams. So yeah, SharonLeeWilliams.ca. So that's SharonLee Williams.ca. So if you know of anybody who would be interested in taking a program, or in a circle, there are free things. We're working on new things. I'd love for people to check that out. And of course, when the book comes out, please, again, it's for anybody uh, who's been in care, or who might be able to use any of these programs. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, Shirley, you have such a remarkable life and story, and it's just I'm so glad I got to get you share a little bit of it with our audience today. Thank you so very much, and we'll put all the details in the show notes for folks to connect with you, and making sure everyone says .ca because you're in Canada, uh, and so that folks can reach out to you. So thank you so much for being part of 29 Days of Magic.
Well, thank you, Laura. You superwoman, Laura. Let me call you Superwoman Laura.
Aw, thanks so much.
You are.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And that is our show.